A group of friends enter the hospital morgue to see the corpse of a famous actress, and fascinated by the beauty of her naked body, they decide to be the last ones to have sex with, no matter what may happen. That's why today in this video let's see the corpse of Anna Fritz. Remember that if you like the videos you can support the channel by liking, subscribing and activating notifications. It's free and it really helps me to keep growing. The story begins as a man pushes a stretcher with the covered corpse. The body is of a famous and glamorous actress named Anna Fritz. We immediately see that the girl was found dead in a hotel room a few hours ago. At that moment the man stomps a stretcher and uncovers the corpse to see the face of this actress and takes a photo of her with his phone. Then we meet two boys named Ivan and Hobby who arrive at the hospital to look for their best friend. This way we see the face of the man who carried Anna's corpse and find out his name is Pau. When they greet each other, the friends joke saying they want another photo, but they really want to invite him to a party, though Pau refuses, saying he has to keep working, and agrees to go out just for a moment to have a drink and get a little high. Then the friends toast the Anna Fritz eternal rest and start talking about the actress's naked body. They're curious to see it, and Pau admits he did a while ago. He also confessed them that the girl's body will be in the hospital morgue until the next day, and both Hobby and Ivan are excited to go see her. When they get there, Hobby tries to leave again, but Pau convinces him to stay, since there's no risk of being discovered, because if someone goes there he will know in advance. At that moment, one by one they get closer to Anna Fritz's body, and when Hobby admits that he's scared because it's the first time he has seen a corpse in his life, his friend tells him that he will not notice that she has died, and when he removes the sheet he uncovers the body of another person who died some time ago. After this joke they approach the actress, and seeing her they're shocked because the girl doesn't seem to be dead. So Pau explains it's normal because she died a few hours ago. Ivan uncovers the rest of the body and doesn't hesitate to touch her, convincing Hobby to do so because after all they're touching the breasts of Anna Fritz. One of them is still unsure about everything they're doing, but Ivan returns the Anna's stretcher, this time to uncover the little corpse. They're fascinated by her body and talk about how hot she is. Ivan says that with her being dead he couldn't do it with her, but Pau reveals that her parts are still the same as a living woman's and would only need to be a little wet. He confesses that basically he knows this because he once did it to the corpse of a girl who was hot, and that's why Ivan criticizes him for doing it with the corpse of a random girl and now with the corpse of Anna Fritz. So he proposes to his two friends to take advantage of this moment. At first Hobby thinks it's a joke, but when he realized that Ivan is being serious, he tries to convince him to go to the party at once. He can be with any woman alive, but he refuses cause none of them is Anna Fritz. Then Ivan says that he will do it because at the end of the day he don't hurt anyone since it's just a corpse, and the other to go to another room to leave him alone. Then Hobby insists all of this is a bad joke, but when Pau looks he realizes his friend is getting undressed, and without hesitation he does it. That's why Pau is also enthusiastic about doing it, while Ivan insists to Hobby that he should also try it, thinking that she's just a drunk girl, but he doesn't convince him because he knows she's really a dead woman. So he decided to wait for Pau to finish to get out of there, and gets annoyed with both of them, and then we see that the third friend approaches Anna Fritz to caress and kiss her before getting on her, but when he's in the process of doing it the girl's corpse opens her eyes without him noticing it, and when he realizes this he starts screaming in terror. At that moment his friends run to him to ask him what's wrong, and Pau tells him that Anna is alive. Everyone is shocked. So he approaches her to confirm that the girl was resurrected, and Hobby quickly goes to get a glass of water for her. Then Ivan asks Anna if she remembers the moment she woke up, but she doesn't answer him, and while Hobby tries to calm her down, Pau tells his friend that she saw him while he was doing what he was doing. Suddenly someone approaches the room, and the three friends hide in time to try to not get discovered by the other man, who brings a stretcher with a new corpse. Meanwhile Anna starts to cry and tries to talk to ask for help, but she doesn't seem to have the necessary strength, so the man doesn't notice anything. Hobby then tries to calm her down and meets with his two friends to tell them that they should be calm because by doing it with her she was dead and so doesn't count as a crime, but Ivan says that the girl will report them because she's famous, and Pau says he's sure that she saw it. Despite this, Hobby insists that there's nothing to do, but Ivan proposes to kill her because after all her family and society have already left her for dead, so will not make much difference, but he doesn't accept. For this reason a struggle begins between them with the stretcher in between, and while they argue Anna hears the intention of killing her, so she begged them not to hurt her. Hobby tries to leave the doors locked and then Pao realizes that he has left the key outside. This generates a strong fight between them that ends with Ivan beating his friend until he passes out, and when Pao stops him they realize that Hobby begins to bleed from the blows to his head. So they try to take care of his wound while Ivan asks for forgiveness. Then Pao tries to call a doctor but Ivan won't let him, so he hides him in a room to call, and someone opens the door and then they can take his friend to the emergency room themselves. Upon arrival at this room, Ivan tries to get his wounded friend react and ask him to tell him while he was alone someone tried to steal his wallet and that is where the wound came from. Meanwhile Pao looks for Anna's stretcher to hide it in the room, and at the same time both prepare to clean the evidence and the remains of Javi's blood, but when they return, the girl speaks to tell them that their friend is in bad shape. That's why they try to keep him awake although he continues to bleed uncontrollably. Suddenly a colleague from the hospital appears asking for Pao and he immediately goes out to distract him while Ivan stays in the room hiding and doing his best to keep Anna quiet. The man asks Pao about the corpse of Anna Fritz because he's curious to see it, but he convinces him to leave and turns off the light of the place. A few seconds later Ivan prepares to get his friend out of there, but it seems that it's too late because Hobby does not react, so he tries to revive him without success, and when Pao returns he begins to cry because Hobby is dead and because thanks to everything they've done denied he will probably end up in prison for life, but Ivan is not willing to let that happen and plans to get rid of his friend's corpse. So he leaves to tell Pao they must work together because if this gets out they will both go to jail, because it's very likely that he will be considered an accomplice, that everyone will find out that he does it with dead women. At the same time Anna takes advantage of being alone to jump off the stretcher, and with the little strength she has she reaches Hobby's phone. When the friends return and discover her making a call, and even though Ivan takes the phone away from her it's too late because Anna talked to her father and told him that she is woken up, so it's a matter of time before they come for her and they have no choice but to take her to the exit. But when they go down the hallway the cell phone rings, and when Ivan answers that he realized that Anna received them because the father only tells him that he had a missed call from that number and that he did not talk to anyone. So upset he decides to return with the girl to the morgue. Then Ivan goes to get the container for Hobby corpse while Pao stays behind to tie up Anna, and as he does so the actress starts talking to him to try to convince him to let her go free, telling him that unlike his friend he's not a murderer, but Pao pays no attention to her. At that moment Ivan leaves the hospital and two doctors appear to smoke right where the containers are, so yeah, no choice but to hide, and when Pao's cleaning the evidence Anna manages to free herself to get off the stretcher. The problem is that her legs still don't respond, so she decides to crawl to the door without Pao noticing, and when the doctors finally leave the dumpster, Ivan managed to grab a dumpster and run back to the hospital at full speed. Returning with Anna we see that she's managed to open the door and get out into the hallway, and with much effort she continues crawling until she passes the next door. Just then Ivan returns to discover that the girls escaped and they both split up to look for her. Anna advances down a corridor when suddenly she sees Ivan appears in front of her, but he does not see her, so she takes the opportunity to hide without being detected. Then she tries to get up but her legs still do not react, and not wait any longer she continues crawling. A few minutes later she manages to get to the elevator, and when the door's about to close Ivan appears to take her dragged by one leg to the morgue. Then finds Pao to tell them they must finish her once and for all, but he just realized everything they've done. He also claims that he strangled his friend while he was away since Anna told him that it happened, but Ivan denies it, telling her that she just wants to turn them against him, and he comes back again to threaten her for lying about it. There they decided the best way to kill her is to suffocate her with a sheet, so Ivan goes to get it and gives the sheet to Pao to do it, but he's not able to do it, and in the middle of a short discussion they agree that they should both do it. After a few seconds struggling with her, Anna is unconscious and both carry her back to the stretcher, and at once they go for Hobby to hide him in the dumpster, and it's Ivan who's in charge of taking him out there to leave him with the side of the street. Meanwhile Pao begins to clean the body of the actress to remove the evidence, and when he finishes he covers her again with a sheet. Shortly after, when he's about to leave, he hears her coughing, so he approaches her to discover that Anna is still alive. He asks her to pretend to be dead, and suddenly Ivan opens the door. Pao tries to hurry him out of there, but his friend has the feeling that they've forgotten something, and to stay calm he uncovers Anna again and asks Pao if he's cleaned her well, so he ends up convinced that everything is ready. Then Pao turns off the light and they leave the room. On the way to the elevator, but before getting on it, Ivan realized that he's lost his card and does not hesitate to return to the morgue to find it, ignoring Pao when he tries to stop him, and when he enters the morgue he finds Anna standing there. Enraged, he begins to strangle his friend for betraying him and then lets him fall to the ground to beat him, but suddenly the girl appears behind him with a pair of scissors in her hand, and in a few seconds she stabs him in the neck to kill him almost on the spot, and Pao tells her that she didn't have to do it because they were about to leave, but Anna doesn't answer him. She just approaches him and stabs him with the same scissors over and over again without saying anything else until Pao finally dies. So that was the corpse of Anna Fritz. Don't forget to subscribe. Him and stabs him with